You've probably felt this pain already. You start with a simple script that calls an LLM, then you add a tool, then another, then some retry logic, and before you know it, you're maintaining a tangled mess of if statements just to make your agent handle a three-step task. That's the moment you realize wiring agents by hand doesn't scale, and it's exactly why frameworks like LangChain and CrewAI exist. Let's start with LangChain, because it's the one most people reach for first. At its core, LangChain gives you composable building blocks, prompts, models, output parsers, tools, and memory, all connected through a piping syntax called LCL. If you want to build a chain that takes a user question, searches a vector database, stuffs the results into a prompt, and returns a structured answer, LangChain makes that flow explicit. You can see every step, swap components in and out, and debug the data as it moves through the pipeline. It's less a magic agent and more a toolkit for engineers who want control. Where LangChain really earns its keep is in retrieval-augmented generation and tool orchestration. Say you're building a support bot that needs to check an order database, read a returns policy document, and draft a reply. In LangChain, you define each tool as a function, describe when to use it, and let an agent executor decide the sequence at runtime. And when that gets complex, LangGraph, its sibling library, lets you model the whole thing as a state machine with explicit nodes and edges, so loops and branching become something you design rather than something you fight. CrewAI takes a fundamentally different mental model. Instead of thinking in chains and graphs, you think in terms of a team. You define agents with roles, goals, and backstories, a researcher, a writer, an editor. Then you hand them tasks and let them collaborate. If you've ever wanted to say one agent gathers the facts, another turns them into a blog post, and a third checks it for tone, CrewAI maps almost directly onto that intuition. The abstraction is people-shaped, which makes it remarkably fast to prototype something that feels like a working team. Consider a concrete example, generating a market analysis report. In CrewAI, you'd spin up a research agent that pulls data, an analyst agent that interprets trends, and a writer agent that produces the final document. You define the tasks, specify whether they run sequentially or in a hierarchical structure with a manager agent delegating work, and CrewAI handles the handoffs between them. You write far less plumbing code, and the result reads almost like a description of a real workflow rather than a program. So how do you choose? Reach for LangChain, and especially LangGraph, when you need fine-grained control, deterministic flows, or production reliability where you must know exactly what happens at each step. It shines when the logic is intricate and you can't afford surprises. Reach for CrewAI when your problem naturally decomposes into collaborating specialists and you want to move fast, prototype an idea, or build something where role-based delegation is the whole point. It trades some control for a huge boost in developer velocity. Here's the honest truth, though, these aren't mutually exclusive religions. Plenty of teams use CrewAI to structure the high-level collaboration and lean on LangChain's tools and integrations underneath. The frameworks are converging on the same insight, that manually wiring every branch and retry is a dead end, and that agents need structure to be reliable. The takeaway is simple. If you're still hand-coding orchestration logic, you're doing work these tools already solved. Pick the abstraction that matches how you think about the problem, control flow, or collaborating roles. Build a small prototype this week, and let the framework carry the plumbing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.